Hi, I'm Tim. In this lesson, you'll learn how to play Mozart's Minuet in F major. Before you start the lesson, you should know some fundamental piano concepts like the names of the notes on the keyboard, how to read the notes on the staff in treble and bass clef, and how to read rhythms. If you're not familiar with these concepts, you can learn them in the Basic series of lessons available in GarageBand. You can also use the glossary at the top right of the screen for more information on some of the topics we'll cover. In this lesson, you'll also learn about accidentals, slur articulations, fermatas, and dynamics, which are all found in this piece of music. Mozart is one of the world's best-known composers, who, along with Beethoven and Haydn, defined the classical style of Western music that spanned from about 1750 to 1820. Mozart wrote this minuet over 200 years ago in Salzburg, Austria, when he was only 5 years old. His father was also a composer, performer, and teacher, and he may have helped his son write this piece. But the fact that Mozart was composing music with such sophistication at a very young age shows the extent of his musical genius. During his life, the minuet was a popular type of dance. It's usually in 3/4 time, meaning it has 3 beats to each measure, and it's typically played at a moderate tempo. This minuet has 3 sections that are each 8 measures long. We'll call the first 8 measure group the A section, and the second group of 8 measures the B section. The last 8 bar group is an A section as well because it's very similar to the first part. Using these 3 sections, the form of this piece is A, B, A, which is called ternary form. Before you get started, go to the play chapter of this lesson and listen to the minuet all the way through, so you have a better idea of what you'll be learning. Mozart's Minuet No. 2 is in the key of F major, which means it's based on the F major scale. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. When a piece of music is in a certain key, the sharp and flat notes from the scale are shown at the beginning of each line of music. This is called the key signature. For the key of F major, the B flat is shown at the beginning of the staff, so it doesn't need to be written each time a B flat appears in the notation. For instance, here's the right hand part for the first 2 measures. The last 2 notes are B flats. But the flat doesn't need to be written in front of these notes because it's already shown in the key signature. When notes appear that are not part of the key signature, they're shown with flats, sharps, or naturals called accidentals. Here's the right-hand part for the beginning of the B section. The E flat on the second note is an accidental because E flat isn't in the key of F major. Accidentals apply for the note right after the accidental sign, and any other time that note appears in that same measure. In the third measure of the B section, there's an accidental used to indicate an F sharp. The repeated note is also an F sharp because the sharp applies for every F after the accidental in the measure. Watch for the accidentals in the B section of this minuet for both F sharp and E flat. There's much more to playing music than simply hitting the right notes at the right time. Articulation markings are written in music to help you play the piece with the feeling that the composer intended. In this minuet, a curved line called a slur is shown over different groups of notes. This articulation marking means that 2 or more notes should be played connected with no break between them. They are used throughout the music of the classical period and are very important to playing this style of music with the right feel. Listen to how the first 4 measures of the minuet sound when played without articulation. Now listen to the same 4 measures when the notes are played connected, following the articulation as Mozart intended. The first notes under a slur are played smoothly and held for their full value, connecting each note to the next. The last note under a slur is softer and is released gently. Think of your hand falling on the first note and gently lifting with the last note under the slur. Try it with me, playing F, A, C, C. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. The weight of your hand should drop on the first note in a down movement, and your wrist should lift on the last note to lighten your touch and release the key. Play it with me again, leading the gentle release at the end of the slur with your wrist. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. Even though your wrist is releasing the weight of your hand, you should try to keep your fingers close to the keys at all times. 1, 2, 3. Throughout this minuet, slurs are used to indicate a consistent, smooth feel from one measure to the next. Once you learn the notes, you'll find that focusing on the articulation will help you make the piece sound more musical. The first section of the minuet is 8 measures long, and it creates the first musical phrase. We'll start by focusing on the right hand. I'll play it for you, then show you how it goes. The first measure is built from the notes of an F major triad, F, A, and C. The C is on the bottom. Play it with your first finger, the F with your third finger, and the A with your fifth. Here's the rhythm of these notes. This eighth, quarter, quarter is the rhythm used throughout the piece. When a pattern like this is repeated, it's called a motif. Play the first measure using this fingering. Third, fifth, first. Then for the repeated C, switch to your second finger. Switching fingers will help to get your hand in the right position for the next measure. Play it with me a few times. 1, 2, 3. Again, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. The second measure is based on a B-flat major triad, B-flat, D, and F. And it uses the same rhythm as the first measure. Now that your finger position is set from the previous measure, play the second measure with your third, fifth, second, then switch to your third finger for the repeated B-flat. Play that with me a few times. 1, 2, 3. Again, 2, 3. Again, 2, 3. Now play the first and second measures together. Keep the slurs in mind while you play. 1, 2, 3. Again, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. The third measure is built from the notes of an F major triad again, but this time with the root on the bottom, F, A, C, using the same rhythm. In this measure, the quarter notes go from F to E instead of repeating the F. Use the fingering third, fifth, second, first. Play it with me. 1, 2, 3. The last measure closes the first section of the piece by simplifying the rhythm, from an E half note to an F quarter note. Play this part using your first and second finger. 1, 2, 3. Notice how the slur covers both notes, so the E is a little heavier with a gentle release on the F. Play it again. 1, 2, 3. Now play the third and fourth measures together. 1, 2, 3. Again, 2, 3. I'll play the first four measures again so you can remember how they sound. Now play them with me. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. The last four measures of the first A section sound like this. Start with the notes of a C major triad, C, E, and G. Then the notes of an F major triad with the C on the bottom, C, F, A. Play those two measures with me a few times. 1, 2, 3. Again, 2, 3. One more time. 2, 3. The next measure uses a triplet instead of two eighth notes, like this. This part is built from a C dominant 7 chord, C, E, G, and B flat. It's important to play these four notes with your first, second, third, and fifth fingers. This keeps your hand in position for all the notes used in the measure, finishing with your fourth finger on the A. I'll play it a few times so you can get the feel of the rhythm. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Try it with me. 1, 2, 3. Again, 2, 3. The slur shows that the first three notes should be played connected, and the B flat should be released gently before playing the A. Try it again thinking about the slur. 1, 2, 3. Again, 2, 3. The last measure of the A section closes the group with the same simplified rhythm, repeating the A from the previous measure for a half note to a quarter note G. Let's play the last two measures starting with the triplet figure. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. Now play the entire four-measure group. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. You can practice the two four-measure groups that make up the A section in the practice chapter of this lesson. It's a good idea to get comfortable with the right hand part before learning the left hand part. The left hand part is simpler than the right hand part, but putting both hands together can be a challenge. Here's the first A section with both the left and right hand parts. Let's learn the left hand part by itself, then we'll put both hands together. Start with your fifth finger on F, your third finger on A, second finger on B flat, and first finger on C. Play those notes following the rhythm in the notation. 1, 2, 3. For the last note of the third measure, spread your hand out while your first finger is playing the middle C, so you're prepared to reach the C an octave below. Play it again, adding the low C at the end. 1, 2, 3. Now with your fifth finger on the low C, you can naturally play the F in the fourth measure with your first finger, to the C with your second finger, and the low F with your fifth finger. Play the left hand for the first four measures. 1, 2, 3. Now try playing the first four-measure group with both hands. It can be pretty challenging at first, so take your time. We'll play it slowly. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. The left-hand part for the second four-measure group of the A section starts with your fifth finger on two C's for 3 beats each. Then quarter notes on C, E, F for the third measure of the group, and moving your first finger up to the middle C, G, C for the last measure. Play the left hand for those four measures. Follow along with the notation. 1, 2, 3. And again. 1, 2, 3. Now add the right hand to this four-measure group. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. Try playing each of these two groups in the practice chapter of this lesson. Pay attention to the slurs as you learn the fingering, notes, and rhythm. The piece should have a light feel, and focusing on the gentle release at the end of each slur will help the music feel elegant and appropriate to Mozart's era. The B section of Mozart's minuet is also an 8-measure phrase. The first 4 measures of this phrase use notes from the G minor scale, so you need to be aware of the F sharp and E flat accidentals. Here's the right hand part. This section uses the same rhythmic motif of eighth, eighth, quarter, quarter. The first measure is built from a C with your third finger, E flat with your fifth finger, then two A's with your first, then second finger. Play that much with me. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. The next measure uses the notes of a G minor triad, G, B flat, and D. Try that along with the first measure. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. The next two measures use an F sharp A C triad for the first measure, to the simplified rhythm to end the group on an F sharp to G. Play those two measures. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. Now try the first four-measure group of the B section. 1, 2, 3. The second four-measure group of the B section is almost exactly the same as the second and third measures of the first group, but now the F is natural rather than sharp. Play those two measures with me. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. The next measure uses the top three notes of a C dominant 7 chord, E, G, B flat, to the simplified rhythm to end the B section on an E to F. Try that much. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. Now try the whole four-measure group. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. Use the exercises in the practice chapter to make sure you're comfortable with the right-hand part before moving on to learn the left-hand part. The left-hand part for the B section has a similar rhythmic feel to the left-hand part of the A section. I'll play the entire B section with both hands so you can hear how they fit together. As with the right-hand part, the left hand also uses the F sharp accidental. Use your fourth finger to play the F sharp, your third finger on the G, then move your hand up to play the quarter note C with your second finger, D with your first finger, and then spread your hand out to prepare to play the D an octave lower with your fifth finger. From there, use your first finger for the G, second for the D, and your fifth finger for the lower octave G. Play the left-hand part for the first four-measure group of the B section with me. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. Now try playing the same 4 measures using both hands. We'll take it slow. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. The left-hand part for the last 4 measures of the B section is exactly the same as the first 4 measures, except the part is a whole step lower. Play it with me. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. Put that together with the right hand. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. Try these 2 groups in the practice chapter. As you become more comfortable with the notes, fingering, and rhythms, you can start to focus on the slurs and phrasing. The ending A section is 8 measures long, and it's almost like playing the first 4 measure group of the minuet 2 times. I'll play the entire 8 measure phrase for you. The right-hand part for the first 4 measure group is exactly the same as the first 4 measures of the piece. The left hand is a little easier. Start with your third finger on the A, second finger on the B flat, first finger on the middle C. Open your hand to reach down for the C an octave below, then D with your fourth finger. Play that much with me using both hands. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. In the last measure of this group, Mozart uses a common technique from the classical era. The melody comes to an end with the familiar E to F in the right hand, making it sound like the minuet could be finished. But the D in the left hand makes this phrase end on a D minor chord rather than the expected F major that ended the A section. So it doesn't quite sound like the end of the piece. A false ending like this one is called a deceptive cadence. To make this false ending even more pronounced, Mozart uses a fermata over the last beat. A fermata is indicated in the notation using the symbol of a dot with an arc over the top. This means you should hold the notes a bit longer than they'd normally be held, essentially pausing the pulse of the music at this point. Usually you'd create this pause by briefly lifting your fingers before continuing with the piece. The final 4 measure group of the piece repeats the same part with the right hand. The first 3 measures of the left hand are also the same as the previous group. The only difference is that now you end with an F in the left hand, so the minuet will sound like it's truly finished. Play the entire ending A section with me, pausing at the fermata on measure 4. 1, 2, 3. Try the second A section in the practice chapter to get familiar with the feel of the fermata. Dynamics refer to how loud or soft you play different parts of a piece of music. Along with playing the correct notes, rhythms, and articulations, using the proper dynamics will make a piece much more interesting. Once you're comfortable playing both hands together for the entire minuet, you can start to include some dynamics in your playing. Start by listening to the piece in the play chapter and imitating the dynamics I play. Then you can try experimenting with your own dynamic interpretation of the music to give it a bit of your own personality. In the play chapter, the piece includes a chamber ensemble to accompany you. These instrumental parts weren't written by Mozart, and they probably aren't the way he intended the piece to be played. But you may find it fun to have the other instruments accompany you. When you're comfortable playing the piece on your own, use the mixer to turn off my piano sound so you can play with just the ensemble. And if you want to play the minuet as Mozart intended, turn off the other instruments too and play the piece solo. If you'd like to learn some other music, you can find other piano lessons for classical and pop music in the GarageBand store. I hope you have fun.